Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Couple Talk, your favorite space to make learning English both effortless and fun. I'm Olivia.
And I'm William. We're so glad to have you here with us today. And guys, today's episode, I'm not exaggerating, could literally change your life. Like, we're talking about the one question that shows up in every single job interview on the planet, and most people completely mess it up.
Most people, including you, William. Tell them.
Okay, we'll get to that. But first, real talk. If someone walked up to you right now and said, "Hey, tell me about yourself," what would you say?
Most of our listeners probably freeze, or they start from birth. I was born in 1998. I went to school.
Which is exactly what we're fixing today. Stick with us.
But before we get into all of that, William, how are you doing today? Because you walked in looking a little off.
Olivia, I had the worst morning. Okay, so you know how I always say I'm a morning person?
You say it constantly, every episode.
Yeah, well, today I was absolutely not a morning person. My alarm went off at 7, I looked at it, thought 5 more minutes, and woke up at 9:15.
9:15?
9:15. And I had a call at 9:30. So I'm running around the flat. I can't find my charger. My coffee's cold. And then this is the best part. I sit down for the call and my background is just my laundry hanging everywhere.
No, you didn't blur it?
I forgot. The client could see everything. Shirts, socks. I think a towel was just hanging there very proudly.
Okay, that's actually a perfect disaster story. But honestly, William, I think we've all had mornings like that. The panic, the rushing, it puts your brain in a weird place for the whole day.
Exactly. And that's actually kind of connected to today's topic, right? Because walking into a job interview in that kind of mental state, flustered, unprepared, and then being hit with, "Tell me about yourself," that's when people crash.
That's a great point. The answer to that question has to be so well practiced that even if you're nervous, even if you slept through your alarm, it still comes out smooth, natural, confident.
Which is why we're here. Okay, Olivia, what about you? Good morning or bad morning?
Honestly, pretty good. I made proper tea. I sat by the window for about 20 minutes, which I never do, and I just read. No phone, no news. It was really nice.
See, that's the life I want. Okay, listeners, which one are you today? William's chaos or Olivia's peaceful morning? Either way, you're here. And that already says something good about you.
All right, let's get into it. Tell me about yourself. 4 words, 1 question. And it is genuinely the most mishandled question in job interviews across the world.
And I know exactly why. Because no one teaches you how to answer it properly. In school, in textbooks, they give you these stiff, formal answers that sound like you're reading a resume out loud.
Right. The textbook version sounds like this. William, you want to demonstrate?
My name is William. I am a graduate of XYZ University. I have 3 years of experience in marketing. I am hardworking, dedicated, and a team player.
A team player. Every interviewer has heard those words 10,000 times.
It's like interview karaoke. Everyone sings the same song.
Exactly. And here's the native secret. Native English speakers, especially in UK and US professional environments, do not answer this question like a list. They tell a short story. They connect the past, present, and future, and they sound like themselves.
Past, present, future? That's the formula?
That's the backbone. Think of it like this. Where did you come from? Where are you now? Where are you going? And you connect those 3 points in about 90 seconds, conversationally, confidently.
Okay, that's actually really clean. Past, present, future. I like that.
And the second native secret is this. You tailor it every single time. You're not memorizing one answer and copy pasting it into every interview. You're adjusting the emphasis based on what that specific company values.
That sounds like more work, though.
It's 5 minutes of extra prep, and it's the difference between getting a callback and getting a polite rejection email.
Okay, let's break this down properly. So the past, present, future structure, how does that actually sound in real English? Like, not the robotic version.
Let me give you a real example. Say someone is interviewing for a digital marketing role. The textbook version we already heard. I am hardworking, I am a team player. Now, here's this native version. So, I actually started out in journalism. I spent a couple of years writing for a local magazine, which is where I really got into understanding what makes people click on a story, what keeps them reading. From there, I moved into content marketing at a small startup. And honestly, that's where everything clicked for me. I loved the mix of creativity and data. Right now, I'm leading the content strategy for a mid-sized e-commerce brand, and we've grown organic traffic by about 60% in the last year. I'm looking for a place where I can do that work at a bigger scale, which is exactly why I got excited when I saw this role.
Okay, that sounds like a real person, like someone you'd actually want to have coffee with.
That's the goal. Interviewers, especially in UK and US companies, are assessing 3 things when they ask this question. 1, can you communicate clearly? 2, do your experiences actually relate to this role? 3, are you someone I'd want on my team?
That third one is interesting. Like, it's not just about your CV.
Not at all. There's actually a well-known idea in hiring culture, especially in Western companies, called culture fit. It basically means, do you feel like you belong here? And your answer to tell me about yourself is the first signal of that.
So if you sound stiff and robotic, they think this person might be stiff in the team?
Exactly. First impressions are powerful, and that answer is your first real impression, after your CV got you in the door. All right, so let's talk about the actual phrases. What are native speakers using that our listeners can take and practice? Great, let's go through them. The first one is, that's where everything clicked for me.
Clicked. Like it all made sense? Exactly. Click in this context means something suddenly became clear, or you found your direction. It's a really natural phrase. Interviewers hear it and it feels genuine, like you had a real turning point, not just a list of jobs.
That's where everything clicked for me. Got it. And we'll use that a few more times so it sticks.
The second phrase, I've always been drawn to.
Ooh, that's smooth.
It's elegant. Instead of saying, I like marketing, which is weak, you say, I've always been drawn to understanding why people make the decisions they do. It shows depth. It shows the interest isn't just about a paycheck.
I've always been drawn to. Yeah, I can hear that in an interview. Sounds genuine.
Third phrase, what I bring to the table is
Bring to the table. That's a very common expression, right?
very common in professional English. It means what I contribute, what I offer, and it's confident without sounding arrogant. What I bring to the table is a mix of technical skills and the ability to explain complex things simply. Clean, specific, professional.
I love that one. Okay, so we have our 3 key phrases. That's where everything clicked for me. I've always been drawn to. What I bring to the table is.
And now, let's talk about what most people get wrong, because this is important. The 3 biggest mistakes.
Lay them out. Mistake number 1, starting from the very beginning. I was born in this city, I went to this school. Nobody asked for your biography. Start from a relevant point, usually your first job or your university specialization, depending on your experience level.
Okay, that makes sense. Cut the baby photos.
Exactly. Mistake number 2, listing qualities instead of showing them. I am hardworking. I am detail-oriented. These are claims. Anyone can say them. Instead, show it through a brief story or a result. I led a project that reduced our team's processing time by 30%. That shows detail orientation without you having to say the word.
Show, don't tell. That's a writing rule, but it works for interviews too.
Completely. Mistake number 3, and this one's subtle, going too long. Some people, when they're nervous, just keep talking. The answer should be between 60 and 90 seconds. That's it. Tight, focused, confident.
60 to 90 seconds. That actually feels really short.
It is short, which is why you have to practice it out loud, not just in your head. Because most people think they know what they'll say, and then they sit down in the real interview and it all falls apart.
Yeah, there's a big difference between thinking an answer and actually saying it. I learned that the hard way, actually. Can I share something?
Please.
So, this was a few years ago. I had this interview at a media company I really wanted to work at. I'd done all the research, I knew the company inside out. First question, tell me about yourself. And I just blanked. I started rambling about my childhood interest in film. I talked for like 4 minutes. I could see the interviewer's face just slowly losing interest.
4 minutes?
4 minutes. On my childhood love of cinema. Completely irrelevant to the job. I didn't get a call back, obviously. And I sat in the car outside and thought, I prepared everything except the most basic answer.
That's such a common experience. And it's not because people aren't smart. It's because the question sounds so simple that nobody prepares for it. You spend an hour researching the company and 30 seconds thinking about your own answer.
Exactly. And then that's where everything clicked for me. When I finally started practicing structured answers out loud, my whole interview game changed.
Nice. You used the phrase.
Very smooth.
Let's also talk about cultural differences here, because our listeners come from all over the world, and this matters. In some cultures, talking about your own achievements, your own success, feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're boasting.
Yeah, I know a lot of people feel that.
In UK and US interview culture, talking about your results clearly and confidently is expected. It's not considered arrogant, it's considered professional. If you downplay your achievements, the interviewer doesn't know what you actually did. They can't advocate for you to the hiring team.
So the cultural shift is this isn't about ego. It's about giving them the information they need to make a decision.
Exactly. You're helping them. And what I bring to the table is that phrase actually helps you do this gracefully. It doesn't sound like boasting. It sounds like a clear, helpful statement of value.
What I bring to the table is 10 years of experience in customer-facing roles and a track record of reducing churn by building real relationships with clients. See, that doesn't feel like showing off. That's a strong answer.
Now, let's talk about one more thing, tone. Because how you say this matters as much as what you say.
The vocal smile you always talk about?
Exactly. When you answer, tell me about yourself, your energy should be warm but controlled. Not too high, you don't want to sound like you've had 3 espressos, but not flat either. You want the interviewer to feel like you're genuinely engaged in the conversation.
And eye contact, right? Or in a video interview, looking into the camera? Crucial. Really important. In a video interview, people often look at their own face on the screen instead of the camera. And to the other person, it looks like you're avoiding eye contact. Look at the camera lens when you're speaking. That's such a simple fix that most people don't know. I didn't know that for so long. Neither did I, honestly. Someone had to point it out to me.
Okay, role play time. Olivia, you're the interviewer. I'll try different versions, and our listeners can judge which one sounds more natural.
Perfect. I'm ready. So, tell me about yourself.
I am William. I have 5 years of experience in sales. I am a motivated individual who works well in teams and independently.
Yeah, no. Next.
Okay, native version. So I started out in retail sales, which sounds basic, but honestly, that's where everything clicked for me in terms of understanding people. I moved into B2B sales after about 2 years, grew into a senior account manager role, and over the last 18 months, I've been managing a portfolio worth about $2 million in annual revenue. I've always been drawn to the relationship side of sales, not just closing deals, but keeping clients for the long term. What I bring to the table is that mix of results and genuine relationship building. And from what I've read about your company, that feels like a strong fit.
That's excellent. You hit all three phrases naturally. That's where everything clicked for me. I've always been drawn to what I bring to the table.
And it's 90 seconds?
About that, yes. Let's try another scenario. Same question, but now William is a recent graduate. No big work experience.
Right, so the past is shorter, just university. Here goes.
I studied communications at university, and during that time, I did a placement at a PR agency where, honestly, that's where everything clicked for me. I realized I loved the strategy side, not just writing press releases, but understanding how to position a brand's message. I've always been drawn to the psychology of perception, why people trust certain voices, certain brands. What I bring to the table is fresh thinking and someone who's genuinely eager to learn fast. I'm not coming in thinking I know everything. I'm coming in ready to contribute and grow.
That's really good. And notice, he turned the lack of experience into something positive. Fresh thinking, ready to grow. He didn't apologize for being a graduate.
Never apologize for your stage.
Never. Let's try a career changer scenario. Someone coming from teaching who wants to move into corporate training.
Okay. I spent 8 years in secondary education, teaching English, which I loved. But about 2 years ago, I started running staff development workshops at my school. And that's where everything clicked for me. I realized the part I love most isn't the subject, it's designing learning experiences that actually change how people think and work. I've always been drawn to adult learning specifically, the way professionals respond to training differently from students. What I bring to the table is deep facilitation experience, curriculum design skills, and an understanding of how to make learning stick for people who are pressed for time.
That is a masterclass in career change framing. He didn't say, I want to leave teaching. He said, I found what I love most. Completely different energy.
Reframe the why. Always.
Always. One more. Let's try someone re-entering the job market after a gap.
This one's sensitive. A lot of people are scared of this.
Which is exactly why we should cover it.
Okay. I spent the last 2 years focused on caregiving for a family member, which was the right decision for my family, and I'd make it again. During that time, I didn't stop completely. I did some freelance project management work remotely, and I used the quieter periods to complete a PMP certification. I've always been drawn to structured problem solving, and that drive didn't pause during those 2 years. It actually deepened. What I bring to the table now is not just my project management background, but also a level of resilience and time management that I genuinely couldn't have developed otherwise. That is how you handle a gap. Honest, no over-explaining. Turns it into a strength. The key is don't hide it, but don't make it the main story either. Exactly. Mention it, contextualize it, move on.
All right, listeners, your turn. Practice challenge time. We're going to give you 3 scenarios. For each one, think about how you'd structure the answer using our 3 native phrases. You don't have to say them all, but try to use at least 2 naturally. Scenario 1. You're a graphic designer with 4 years of experience, interviewing at a tech startup that values creativity and fast delivery. Think about your past. Where did your design journey start? Your present? What are you doing now? What results have you had? Your future. Why this startup? Why now?
And where can you drop in, that's where everything clicked for me? Maybe when you discovered a specific design tool or worked on a project that changed your style?
Scenario 2. You're a finance professional with 10 years of experience, interviewing for a leadership role at a company going through a restructuring.
Where can what I bring to the table fit? Think about what a company going through change actually needs. Stability, clear thinking, someone who's handled pressure before.
And I've always been drawn to. Can you show a genuine interest in financial transformation, organizational complexity, Connecting those to this company's situation is what will set you apart.
Scenario 3, and this one's for our listeners who are just starting out. You're applying for your first job after graduating. No big experience. A part-time job, maybe a university project, and your personal interests.
This is where I've always been drawn to does a lot of heavy lifting. Because when you don't have a track record, showing genuine curiosity and direction is what creates a strong impression.
Pause the episode. Write down your answer. Say it out loud 3 times. That's the practice. Not thinking it, saying it. Because the interview room, or the video call, is not the place to hear your own answer for the first time. That's one of the best lines you've said, Olivia.
I'd been saving it.
Okay, let's bring it home. What's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with from today?
The answer to tell me about yourself is not a summary of your CV. It's a story, short, focused, tailored, that connects where you've been to where you're going and shows the interviewer why you're the right fit for the specific role. Past, present, future. 60 to 90 seconds. 3 phrases that sound natural and professional, and practice it out loud until it feels like breathing.
And I'd add, don't wait until you have an interview to practice this. Record yourself answering it right now, today. You'll be amazed at how different it sounds from what you imagined in your head.
That's genuinely good advice. Recording yourself is uncomfortable, but it's one of the fastest ways to improve. You catch the filler words, the long pauses, the moments where you lose energy.
Like, we all have them. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be natural and clear.
And remember, I've always been drawn to is a phrase that works in almost any professional context, not just interviews. Networking conversations, performance reviews, even introductions at a new workplace. Once it feels natural, you'll find yourself using it everywhere.
Same with what I bring to the table is. It's confident, it's specific. It doesn't sound like bragging, and it gives the other person exactly what they need to understand your value.
And that's where everything clicked for me. That phrase makes you human. It tells a story. It shows you've had a journey, not just a job list.
3 phrases, 1 structure, practice out loud. You've got this.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If today's episode helped you, share it with someone who has an interview coming up, because this is exactly the kind of thing most people find out too late.
And if you've been practicing with us, honestly, you're already ahead of most candidates walking into that room. Keep going.
Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep talking with William and Olivia. See ya.
See ya.